What's going on, you guys, and welcome back to Making the Custom. Thanks for checking out this week's episode. And here in this episode, we're starting on the final stretch for our custom Big Daddy V with his paint job. What you guys are seeing here is I'm just giving my parts for V a quick shot of primer. I believe if we're getting really technical, this is called a tack coat. You guys will notice that I'm spraying into a cardboard box. This is a good way to recycle your boxes and make a spray booth for your primer, for your sealer, and things like that. You don't want this stuff getting all over the place, and you always want to make sure you're spraying in a well-ventilated area. Now, first up for our paint job, we're going to be starting with the head, and what I'm going to be doing here, you guys, you'll notice that my painting process kind of looks like this. If I'm using lighter colors, I'll always do those first, and I'll finish with the darker shades. As far as V's eyes and his teeth, I always like to make sure I mix an ivory type of tone. It's sort of a mixture of the skin tone paint as well as some white. I don't like to paint teeth or eyes a stark bright white color. I feel like it's much more natural when you're using an ivory color as opposed to the white. Now you guys can see I filled in the color for his teeth as well as his eyes, and now I'm just kind of going over his mouth with a shade of pink. I don't have to be precise with this one because I am going to carve that line out for his lips with his skin tone. And then now I'm kind of going over his eyes, you guys. So I've mixed a dark brown color here. That's going to be the pupil. And next, you guys are seeing me using my detail brush. I'm just going over the edge of his eyes to make that line for his eyelashes, as well as the black dot in the center of his pupils. Now, on the top row of Big Daddy V's teeth, he always did wear that gold grill, so you guys see me add a little bit of antique gold to the top layer of his teeth. If you guys are following me on Instagram, you've seen some of my work in progress pictures. Sometimes I'll share pictures of painted heads from beginning to end. And I've gotten some questions on the way that I do this. Now, you guys can see I've painted the eyes, the teeth, the lips. I've done everything up front. And again, I'm carving it out with the skin tone now. I feel like it's much easier to cut down on your mistakes by going over a lighter tone with a darker tone at the end. So I've gone ahead and switched from my smaller, finer detail brush to a wider base coat brush here to start the work on V's torso. Now, it's really important when you guys are fully painting your figures that you guys get into the cracks and the breaks of the figure where he has some articulation. This is going to take a few different coats, you guys, so I want to make sure that I'm getting a nice full color by the end of this process. Now, when I'm dealing with a mixed skin tone such as this one, you guys, it's difficult to make these match if you guys are going over it multiple different times. So in an attempt to save all of that, I'm making sure I'm grouping these parts together. And what I mean by that is I'm just going to knock out the entire skin tone process before I move on to painting with any other colors. You guys can see that our skin tone looks all about wrapped up. Everything's looking great from the torso to the arms to the head of V, and it's time to knock out some of the black. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna finish the details on Big Daddy V's head, starting with his facial hair. And as I previously mentioned in one of my other episodes, Big Daddy V was sporting a little bit of a low fade. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna lay a base coat down of the black on the top of his head. And then I'm gonna do some dry brushing right here just to add that faded texture. I'm gonna go over this once again with some skin tone just to kind of even it up and make sure that line between the fade and the top of his hair is not as harsh. And finally, we're gonna wrap up this week's episode by knocking out these singlet straps here, you guys. I'm back to my detail brush, and again, I'm just taking it nice and slow, you guys. I really don't wanna have to go over that skin tone anymore, but it is part of the process. So try to make sure you guys are getting a nice, even coat on the outside. Then you can switch back over to your coverage brush, and then we can start to fill in some of these straps. You guys will notice that looking here at the Yokozuna lower body, I didn't prime the legs. Anytime I'm painting with a color like black, it's so dark and it's really easy to make a nice full coverage. So I don't usually prime items that I'm painting in black. I'm gonna wrap up this video here by leaving you guys with this current state of our custom Big Daddy V. And in next week's episode, we're gonna wrap up his series and we're just gonna finish up our paint job. I'm gonna show you guys how I laid down the decals for his tattoos, and then we're just gonna put this guy together. So I wanted to say thank you guys again very much for checking out this week's episode. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. If you guys liked it, please like the video, please leave a comment, please share with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe here on YouTube and hit that notification bell, letting you know anytime I upload a new video. Also, if you guys aren't already, please check out my Instagram account at chargrove.customs, where you're gonna see a lot of my other work.